What if everything you thought you knew about optimizing your testosterone was only half the picture? Most guys fixate on one number, total testosterone, and completely miss the bigger story. Dr. Kyle Gillett, one of the leading hormone specialists who has shared his clinical framework in recent public discussions, lays out a full toolkit for male hormone health across your entire lifespan. And spoiler alert, some of the most powerful levers are not in a pill bottle. Let's break it all down. This is not a single compound deep dive today. Instead, we are covering a framework, a set of evidence-based behavioral and lifestyle tools for male hormone optimization. The core idea is simple, but often overlooked. Male hormonal health is not a static target you hit once in your 30s. It is a moving system that requires ongoing monitoring and adjustment across your entire life. Dr. Gillett uses an analogy that I love. When a brand new car rolls off the assembly line, you hook it up to a diagnostic computer and do a full workup. He argues we should do the same with the human body, especially during key developmental windows like puberty, and then continue monitoring throughout adulthood. The primary hormones in this conversation include testosterone, free testosterone, SHBG, which stands for sex hormone binding globulin, DHT or dihydrotestosterone, estrogen, IGF-1, and growth hormone. Understanding how these interact is the foundation of everything that follows. Let us start with SHBG because most people skip this and it is critical. SHBG is the protein that binds androgens and estrogens in the bloodstream. Think of it like a parking garage for your hormones. When testosterone is parked inside SHBG, it is not available to act on receptors in your tissues. So your total testosterone number can look fine on paper, but if your SHBG is very high, your free testosterone could be low. DHT, dihydrotestosterone, is what Dr. Gillett calls the strongest bioidentical androgen. It plays a major role in secondary sexual characteristics during puberty and remains important in adult males. The relationship between SHBG and DHT is nuanced. High SHBG can mean DHT is not being metabolized as quickly, but there may also be less free DHT available to act on receptors. Now, caloric status has a direct hormonal effect. According to Dr. Gillett, if someone is in a caloric deficit, several things happen simultaneously. First, they have fewer building blocks available for hormone synthesis. Second, the body shifts toward a more catabolic state. Third, growth hormone and IGF-1 signaling tend to decrease. And fourth, SHBG tends to rise, which means free androgens and free estrogens both drop. The practical takeaway here is important. If you are already lean, aggressive caloric restriction is likely to suppress your testosterone. However, if you are carrying excess body fat, losing that fat through moderate, sustainable restriction combined with exercise can actually improve testosterone levels over time. Context matters enormously here, especially when considering the difference between fat loss and lean suppression. Stress is another major lever. Chronic psychological stress activates the HPA axis, which over time competes with and suppresses the HPG axis, the hormonal pathway responsible for testosterone production. Dr. Gillett points out that stress does not just hit testosterone directly, it also tends to cascade into poor sleep, poor diet choices, and reduced exercise quality, all of which compound the hormonal hit. Finally, IGF-1. This growth factor is particularly important up to around age 25 according to Dr. Gillett, where it supports bone density, bone growth, secondary sexual characteristics, and overall development. Nutrients like vitamin D and dietary choices that support IGF-1, including dairy in appropriate amounts, can matter a great deal during those formative years. Let us talk about what the evidence actually supports here, because this is where we need to be precise and honest. On exercise, Dr. Gillett references research on vigorous exercise duration and its hormonal effects. Somewhere around 3 to 4 sessions of vigorous training per week, each kept under roughly an hour, appears to be a sustainable and hormonally supportive pattern. According to findings he discussed, regularly training vigorously for longer than 1 hour appears to be counterproductive from a hormonal standpoint. Additional lighter movement on top of that is fine and encouraged. On diet, Dr. Gillett makes a strong evidence-based point about extreme dietary restriction in young males. In his clinical view, very restrictive diets, he specifically calls out pure carnivore or strict vegan diets in teens and early 20s, are likely to significantly decrease free androgens. His reasoning is that dietary diversity provides the building blocks and micronutrient spectrum needed for hormone synthesis. Vitamin D, adequate protein from varied sources, essential fatty acids, and fiber all play documented roles in hormonal and gut microbiome health. On gut microbiome, Dr. Gillett emphasizes prebiotic fiber as foundational, particularly in the teens through 30s. He uses a vivid analogy. Your gut microbiome is like an aquarium, and prebiotic fiber is the fish food. What you feed it shapes whether your microbial ecosystem skews toward health or away from it. This matters hormonally because gut health influences inflammation, estrogen metabolism, and nutrient absorption. On TRT for young men, this is where Dr. Gillett is most direct, and it deserves emphasis. When asked whether a male in his 20s or 30s with testosterone levels within the normal reference range should consider exogenous testosterone replacement therapy, his answer was essentially, almost never. Natural optimization is always the first priority. The risks to fertility, the suppression of the body's own production, and the complexity of getting dosing right all make it an extremely poor risk-reward trade-off. Rare medical conditions like Kallmann syndrome are exceptions, but those are diagnosed and managed by physicians, not chosen by biohackers browsing forums. This information is for educational purposes only. Always consult your doctor before making any changes to your diet, supplements, or medication. For blood work monitoring, Dr. Gillett recommends working with your physician using shared decision-making, with follow-ups roughly every 6 months as a general guideline. He suggests getting both total testosterone and either SHBG or free testosterone measured together, since total testosterone alone does not tell you the full story. On creatine, the one supplement explicitly discussed, Dr. Gillett notes it has multiple mechanisms of interest for male hormonal health. It supports amino acid synthesis, helps manage oxidative stress, serves as a backup fuel source for mitochondria, and according to at least one study, modestly increases total testosterone and also increases the conversion of testosterone to DHT. He suggests it may be particularly relevant for males from their teenage years through their 20s. Now, the hair loss question comes up around creatine and DHT. One study showed creatine increased DHT levels. And since DHT is a primary driver of male pattern baldness, the concern is logical. Dr. Gillett acknowledges this is a real consideration, particularly for men with a genetic predisposition to hair loss. If this applies to you, this is a conversation worth having with your doctor before starting creatine. For vitamin D, Dr. Gillett notes it plays a role in testosterone production and bone mineralization, though specific dosing should be guided by your own blood levels, ideally with physician input. The framework Dr. Gillett lays out is itself a stack, not of supplements, but of lifestyle pillars that reinforce each other. Sleep, diet, exercise, stress management, and what he calls spirit or purpose, these all interact. On the supplement side, creatine pairs naturally with an adequate protein intake and resistance training, because all three support the anabolic signaling environment. Prebiotic fiber works synergistically with a varied whole food diet to maintain a gut microbiome. That supports healthy estrogen metabolism and reduces inflammation. Vitamin D functions best when adequate magnesium is present, since magnesium is required for vitamin D metabolism. Though again, any supplementation here should be based on your actual blood levels, not guesswork. For men in their 20s and 30s, Dr. Gillett's overarching message is that the lifestyle stack is more powerful than any supplement combination, and it does not carry the downside risks of suppressing your own hormonal system. For creatine specifically, creatine monohydrate is the most studied form and the one with the most consistent evidence behind it. Look for products that carry third-party testing certification. Labels like NSF certified for sport, informed sport, or USP verified are meaningful signals that what is on the label is actually in the product without banned substances or contaminants. Red flags to avoid: proprietary blends, exotic creatine forms with premium pricing, and any testosterone-related supplement making dramatic claims. For hormone blood work, use a licensed medical provider. Direct-to-consumer lab testing services can be a starting point, but interpretation should always involve a qualified physician, especially when you are making decisions about supplementation or lifestyle changes. Male hormone optimization is a long game. It is not a single number to chase or a shortcut to find. It is a diagnostic mindset, a set of sustainable habits, and smart, conservative use of supplements like creatine when appropriate. The biggest lever most men have not pulled is simply monitoring their own blood work regularly with a doctor who understands hormonal health. If you found this useful, hit subscribe so you do not miss our next deep dive. Drop your experience in the comments. Are you tracking your SHBG? Next up, we are going deep on creatine as a standalone compound, mechanisms, full human evidence, and everything around that DHT question. See you there.